just a hunk of burning love. I'm just a hunk of burning love. A hunk of burning love. Just a hunk of burning love. 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 Just a hunk of burning love. A hunk of burning love. Just a hunk of burning love.
How are we going to fade it on stage?
Well, like patch it up.
Let Bill keep hitting that high note. We'll lower the curtain.
Just like patch it up.
1, 2, 3.
It's a good home in the city, working for the man every night and day, and I never lost 1 minute.
When my soul is tossed, it sends out a light that I might see. And I thank God for the lighthouse. I owe my life to Him. Jesus is a lighthouse from the rocks of sin. I remember one stormy night when just in time I
first realized I could sing, at about 2 years of age, I found myself singing. I mean, I was singing, and people would listen to me around the housing project where I lived. You know, I was about 8 years old, and they entered me in a talent show. I wore glasses, had no music, and I won, I think it was 5th place in this talent contest, this state talent contest. I got a whipping the same day. My mother whipped me for something. I don't know, one of the rides. Destroyed my ego completely. But I would sing like in church, my mother and father, but you know, when I was about 10 years old, they gave me a choice between a guitar and a bicycle. So I took the guitar and watched people. I learned to play it, you know, a little bit. But I would never sing in public. I was very shy about it. See if I can do it like the record now. Just sing the bass.
Well, in our Johnny saw a mighty number way up in the middle of the air. Our Johnny saw a mighty number moving way in the middle of the air. Got to mighty number. Our Johnny saw a mighty number moving way up in the middle of the air. Our Johnny saw a mighty number moving way in the middle of the air. Well, there were 3 gates in the east. There were 3 gates in the west. 3 gates in the north. 3 gates in the south. 12 gates to the city, 4 square wide. Hallelujah, got the mighty mother. Our Johnny saw a mighty number moving way up in the middle of the air. Our Johnny saw a mighty number moving way in the middle of the air. John declared, saw me, he had 12 bright stars in his right hand. While his eyes flashed fire like the burning sun. Old John got scared and he wanted to run. Well, he wanted to run, but his feet didn't go, cause he felt the gospel cutting like a two-edged sword. Then he heard a voice, he said, John, you take a look and read what you see. You write it in a book. He saw 12 angels in the east, and there were 12 angels in the west. 12 angels in the north, 12 angels in the south. It's a total of 48 angels to the city, 4 square wide. Hallelujah, got the mighty wizard. Our Johnny saw a mighty number moving way up in the middle of the air. Our Johnny saw a mighty number moving way in the middle of the air. Show off. Well, you rock my soul down in the woods, rock, rock, rock down in the woods. My baby, and me rock my soul down in the woods. My baby, and me rock, rock, oh yeah, rock, oh Lordy, Lord, oh rock my soul. Why don't you rock my soul? Well, you rock my soul down in the woods. My baby, and me rock, rock, rock down in the woods. My baby, and me rock my soul down in the woods. My baby, and me rock, rock. Rock, oh Lordy, Lordy, oh, rock my soul. Why don't you rock my soul?
Oh, that's all I can do.
That's enough. That's enough, Daddy.
Oh man, you got to feel all that stuff.
Lead me, guide me along the way. Lord, if you lead me, I cannot stray. Or just open mine eyes that I may see. Lead me, I am tired and I need thy strength and power to guide me over you lead me.
He's gonna get that last one. He's gonna get that last one. Well, he came to Memphis to sing with a group called the Blackwood Brothers. It was the first time that I'd ever seen him.
How did you run into him this time? Just in Vegas?
I just realized that they were available. And he'd formed a new quartet called the Stamps. And I listened to some of the records, and they had all this power.
He made the Stamps. He brought them together.
He put them together.
One of his nephew and one's his son-in-law. The other two, I don't know where they came from.
But each one of the guys individually are good, as you can
Oh,
see.
yeah, I noticed.
They all have good voices.
See, we come from a different background. We come from the Middle West or from the West Coast.
You don't hear this too much.
So we don't hear this. So we see a bunch of guys, and it has a whole different kind of level of meaning to it.
We grew up with it, you know, from the time I can remember, like 2 years old. I grew up with this because my folks took me there. And when I got old enough, I started to sing in church. And I started.
That's how you got into singing? Yeah.
Well, it's one of the ways.
One of the ways.
You know, yeah. But I liked all type of music. You know, when I was in high school, I had records by Mario Lanza and the Metropolitan Opera. I loved music. The Spanish, I like the Mexican flavored songs.
But this is so
music
different.
But this thing here, the gospel thing is just. Excuse me. The gospel is really what we grew up with, you know, more than anything else.
And there
It
seems
comes
to be
out
that
in almost every song.
It's a kind of a
Yeah,
soul.
like a
It comes from way
fantastic
deep
strength
inside.
that's inside, yeah.
It just isn't singing notes. It's singing something that seems to come from very deep inside of you.
And at certain times you push out, you know, pull in. It's just a part of you. You don't really think about it.
When I was in France about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was doing a film on Jean-Claude Keeley, and I asked him just offhand who was his favorite singer, and he said, Elvis Presley. He's my man.
Oh, really?
He's my man.
Well, he's my favorite skier.
But I asked him why.
That's nice. Thank you.
He said, but he did this whole thing. He says he has soul. You know, it's hard for an American to talk to a Frenchman and understand that he understands soul better than you do. But he really does. He says he sings, you know, from in here. And that was his way of describing. He had a very limited ear in English at the time.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But this,
Yeah.
In Las Vegas, after he's done 2 shows, everybody's tired. They're up in the suite singing all night till like 6,
yeah,
7.
we'll do 2 shows a lot of times, and we'll go upstairs and sing until daylight. You know, gospel songs.
How do you do it? How do you?
Not too often. When you're working every night there.
I mean, what does it do for you? I mean, to get into this, is it like
I think it more or less puts your mind at ease. It does mine. You know, because you've been really concentrating and everybody's been working out. So these things we know.
it's like old friends?
Right. And it puts your mind at ease.
It takes you down and
Yes,
just
it
levels
takes you
things
down
off.
to a level. Otherwise, you'd go out of here and you couldn't sleep for, you know. There's nothing wrong with it, but if you ended on a real fast up-tempo song or something, you know, we'd leave the studio and nobody can sleep for hours.
You're right though. When you leave the stage like a place like Vegas, you're really up. You're really, really flying.
It takes at least 4 or 5 hours to even begin to unwind. And we usually wind up, you know, doing this type of stuff.
Where have you found the guys? I mean, we know about JD, but like the other guys who are in the chorus, it seems like you've known them forever, just watching you around the piano and singing, like you're like real super old friends from a long, long time.
Well,
like I said, I knew JD from back when I was 15 years old, when he first came to Memphis to sing with a group called the Blackwood Brothers. And I was a big gospel music fan, so they would sing all night. And I would stay there all night, you know. And he had formed this new group himself a couple years ago. And I just heard their records and put them together with the inspirations and everything else that we had.
Looked in the gutter in there. They
Looked in the gutter, man, and dug them out.
All of that's going on the stage. It's really.
But then when you put it all together,
There seems to be a kind of like a relationship going on stage. It's like everybody is a friend of everybody else on stage. And that's something very rare, because we've seen a lot of groups perform and don't get that kind of feeling.
I think it's because we enjoy it, you know. And we constantly enjoy it, which means that we do 2 shows a night for 5 weeks, but we never let it get old. Every song is like we do it for the first time, and that's one of the secrets, you know.
Well, like it's not a planned thing. You don't do the songs, the same sequence.
Not necessarily.
Yeah,
we can change them around, but even if we do the same songs,
it's not the.
They're new, and the sound is you know, the feeling is there every time.
But it's a different feeling each time, right?
It's a good feeling. We never let it down, because there's a new audience out there. Plus, we enjoy what we're doing.
Well, Elvis communicates with us, really. I mean, you really do from the stage. I've sung with all the people, but he has some way of keeping you interested and communicate, you know, between you and him. And,
I'm not going to tell you how.
You aren't going to tell us the secrets? Well, hell, we'll get out.
Things that go on behind my back and things. No. But we will. We'll keep it interesting somehow, you know.
Hope it's more
5 weeks, man.
Oh, shut up.
Last show was working with it.
yeah.
At the end of the 5 weeks, it was, you know, it went by like that, and it seemed like a day.
Well, see, I don't know. For instance, this evening, I know you were running just through everything just for us, for the cameras, what have you. Which would seem like if you did the reverse on us and said, well, guys, just walk around with your cameras like you normally do in the concert, it would be a drag to us, because it would be hard for us to get up to that level. But what's hard for us to figure out is that you can turn it on here just like you do on the stage.
Well, you know what's interesting about music and about all the people here, they find new sounds, you know, and they do things differently themselves. So it's like a new experience every day. The guy on the guitar will find a new lick, or the guy on the piano will find something, or the voices will add something, you know. And I hear all this, and it inspires me. Yeah.
Because like we watch, it's new for us. We're watching things like you and the lead guitarist kind of looking, the looks that go back and forth, and we're lining up shots. There's like really something going on, some sort of magic. You know, we know already the game that goes on with Charlie Hodges and the kidding, the back and forth, and that's part of it too. So there's a kind of thing going on there. There's something going on there. I notice when your eye goes over to JD when the chorus comes in, you know, each one of them is like a little turn on. You know, it's like a conversation that goes on each one, but there's surprises.
It's like
in
a feedback.
It's a back and forth, and you turn each other on.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, it never ceases. It goes on.
And that's what we're looking for in the film. That's what the film has to explore totally. It's that whole electricity, you know, that's just kind of circulating back and forth.
I hope you find it.
Hey, it's not. Well, we have to tell you, we looked and it wasn't there.
Thanks.
So we're wrapping. Hey, let's call it a night.
Got to rest up for the road.
Got a big
Got a big jump from here to
Buffalo. Or wherever.
Off to Buffalo.
This is a tour I usually lose about 2 inches, not in here, but in here.
Walk.
To hang by my hands for about 2 weeks to get it back.
Yes.
All one-night stands, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's fine, see. It's excitement. It's,
Got to figure out how to get a piano in each room for these guys to sing after the show.
Oh, let's go home, everybody.
I think so. Enjoyed it, fellas.
How's it going?
This is the only beginning of I think a really enjoyable experience.
Thank you. We'll do our best.
I know you will. We'll try and do ours. Now you're supposed to say, I know you will. See, and then,
No
then we're all
comment.
cool.
No comment.
Okay.
We're even.
Good night.
You're so young, and you're beautiful, and I love you so. Your lips so red, your eyes that shine, shame the stars that glow. So fill these lonely arms of mine and kiss me tenderly. Then you'll be forever young and beautiful to me. You're so young and beautiful. You're everything I love. Your angel smile, your gentle touch are all I'm dreaming of. Oh, take this heart I offer you and never set me free. Then you'll be forever young and beautiful to me. Then you'll be forever young and beautiful.
Not that much.
To me.
Elvis really enjoys Memphis, coming to Graceland here. After all, he spent quite a few of his younger days here, you know, and it's more like home to him than any other place, I guess. And he has quite a few friends here. He likes to visit and see, you know, and talk to about different things, the changes being made in Memphis and what have you. We first moved to Graceland, it was quite different than what it is now. There was no fences here, and very few houses. None of this here was out there, and across the street has been built since. So it's just kind of closed us into the city here. Just a couple of months ago, they renamed this highway out here in the name of Elvis Presley Boulevard, which was real good, you know, very great.
How many records did he sell when he started out?
Oh, he has 56 singles that sold over 1 million copies, 56 gold records now, and 16 albums that sold over 1 million copies. Well, 18 albums with the two over here. 56 singles and 18 albums, gold records.
And what was it like for Elvis in those first days? He was kind of different from the rest of the guys, wasn't he?
Well, in some ways, some of the clothes he wore was different. The way he wore his hair was quite different to what there was back then, you know. And he was criticized quite often about it, but it really didn't bother him. He didn't change it. He went on like he was anyway.
What was that story you told me about, you know, when he first decided to go into show business? Did you have any inkling of...
No, he called me into his room one day there. I believe it was shortly after he got out of high school. and he said, "I want to be an entertainer." And I said, "Well, you know, I don't know much about that sort of thing, but you deal with quite a few people in the business." I said, "Why don't you talk to some of them and see what you got to do to get into it, you know?" At that time, he was more interested in the gospel singing, the quartet singing, you know. So he tried for 2 or 3 different of the young groups to get in with them, and they was either full or they didn't think he could sing good enough or something. I don't know what happened. Then after he made this record, quite a few of the quartet groups wanted him then, and so he talked to me about it again, you know. He said, "What would you do?" He said, "I can get into the quartet singing now in the gospel field." And of course my reaction was I wouldn't do it. I'd just keep what I got because you tried that before and they wouldn't take you in. I said, "I'd just stick to what I got." So he did. You know, to keep the people back. Otherwise he couldn't perform. He couldn't put on a show. They'd rush the stage before he got through. And one place he told me about where he was appearing, he sung part of one song and had to leave the stage and didn't go back because they tore the stage all to pieces.
What is the thing he likes to do?
Well, I think the main thing that he really wants to do when he's on stage is to please the audience, you know. If he don't feel that he has, he gets kind of upset about it. I think that's his main ambition in life is when he's, on stage is to please his audience, you know, make them happy.
What's he like before he goes on stage? Does he get
Well, he does a number of songs that I like very much. I think that trilogy, American trilogy, that he's been doing on tour is one of the greatest things that he's done, you know, really. It seems to hit me more than anything he's done recently.
He's kind of unusual as a performer, too, because he doesn't...
We call this the trophy room, where we keep all of Elvis's plaques, trophies, awards, what have you. Citations that he has gotten through the years. For instance, here on this wall we have gold records, 56 singles, and 18 albums that sold over 1 million copies.
Singer?
It was sort of like the thing at school that Elvis was sort of the singer in high school. When you thought of variety shows, you would say, well, I'm sure Elvis is going to be there with his guitar singing because he did have that talent and he had that ability to get up in front of a crowd and entertain at that time.
What kind of sounds were you hearing in those days? What kind of people?
Well, the music that we were hearing in those days were the contemporary sounds of Tony Bennett and Frankie Lane and the Crew Cuts, and the country and western things were things like Hank Snow's Moving On and Eddie Arnold's...
What kind of person was he? How did he look in those days?
Well, even in high school, Elvis, he looked like a star because I guess he was a star. We just really didn't know that Elvis was a star at that time. He was different. His hair was long. He was setting a trend, but we didn't know what, he was setting a trend. He wore what you would call, I guess, Showtime clothes to high school, and he would wear loud sport coats and loud pants and flashy shirts, and I guess a lot of kids really didn't understand what Elvis was doing, but I guess later on we found out that he was going in that direction of an entertainer, which he did go into, but I guess he was a star then, and we just didn't know it.